Hello, my name is Sanji. Welcome to the AR Archives. And if you're not new here, welcome back. It's been a few months, but that is precisely what we're here to talk about. Being a creative person and experiencing months-long artistic blog, writer's blog, or basically a creative blog can be very frustrating, and I can speak about it from experience. The last video that I posted was on May 29th. May. The year is closer to ending than it is to May. But I unfortunately became a casualty of a creative blog, which didn't come as a surprise to me, given that I
feel that I'm still in my prime.
Experience something I like to call reverse seasonal depression, because people normally go through that during the winter, but in my case I go through it during the summer, and oh boy does the heat kill me. Every single idea I had sort of vaporized, either because I couldn't express myself the way that I wanted, or because I became an irritated hermit that could not stand the idea of having to get dressed up. I had a breakdown before filming this video. So now that the weather is slowly changing, very slowly, and the festive atmosphere is hitting me, so I found myself in a more joyful mood. And I decided to talk about this because I feel like it's a very common problem among people, and some might not even stop to try and find a way to cope with it. So let's get started. By definition, a creative block is described as an overwhelming feeling of being stuck in the creative process without the ability to move forward and make anything new. We'll go through a few personal examples that involve different outlets. The first one is a song I started writing back in April. It was going pretty well until my inspiration completely vanished, and I still only have the first verse and the chorus. The second example is actually an idea I had for a video that I started writing probably a month after I posted my last one. It was going well, I was pretty set on it, until I felt it was too personal to share, so I decided to scratch it for now. After that, I've only been able to write down my ideas on my notes app without getting them developed and explored, simply just stating the themes of each one. And the third one is a painting I kind of forced myself to do to try and get out of my creative block. As you can tell, it didn't work, and it only made me have like a mild breakdown because of it. However, in a surprising turn of events, a couple of minutes later, it inspired me to write down an entry on my journal about allowing yourself to make mistakes and not being so hard on yourself when failing, given that the purpose is to try and learn, not to always succeed. Now I'm gonna show you the actual painting, or what's left of it. It's basically this one. The main idea I had was simply paint lines and see what comes from that. I started seeing buildings, so I thought, hey, I'm gonna do a night in the city, right? I started adding some things. I ended up getting frustrated. I did not like it. I got mad, so I poured this purple paint on it, and then I just ripped it apart and I squashed it. I threw it in the trash, and I was so angry. Like I said, it caused me like a mild breakdown. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, wait, why did I do that? I felt bad, so I felt bad, so I picked it up from the trash and I just extended it, and I'm like, oh my god. And that's when I wrote the whole thing, and I'm gonna quote myself here because I think this one is important too. So now here it is, showing its imperfection and my own frustration, but with a new purpose this time. A lesson to be kinder and allow mistakes to happen without punishments, simply to learn from them. After sharing that with you, I can say that the best piece of advice I have is to not try and force yourself if you don't feel like it, and acknowledge that, yeah, you are going through a creative block, but it doesn't mean that it's over or that you failed. If I'm being honest, that's how I started feeling about my channel during these months I spent doing nothing. I began wondering if I actually liked it, because I couldn't get myself to write anything. I even convinced myself that it had been a stupid idea to try, and that I was bad at committing to something. Turns out, I only needed a chilly breeze to hit outside to get back my spark. It's a little bit silly, isn't it? And I would say a little bit dramatic, but here we are, and that's the good thing. So, I have some advice, as usual, that I believe could help someone overcome their creative block as a way to gain back inspiration, but also to take in their environment with an appreciative lens that, more often than not, can bring out the best of us. At first, this is gonna sound like I'm contradicting myself. Name a hobby of yours that doesn't consist in consuming media. But I did include a disclaimer saying that media could become inspiration. So here we are, it's a full circle moment. Watching a movie, listening to music, reading a book, all of these can lead to inspire you, especially if they have a meaningful message behind them that resonates with you. Let's take a look at Superman. You don't think much of it when you first hear about it. You might even assume it's just another superhero movie. But the message it spread inspired so many to be kinder, to be hopeful, and to be human. It is a piece of media that can easily serve as a way to get past the creative block due to the feelings it arises, not only about our surroundings and others, but also about ourselves, helping us use those emotions as a tool to create and to express. In my case, it basically inspired me to be myself, to love the things that I do the things that I love, because I love superhero movies, and that one specifically made my whole year because it's so meaningful. And it inspired me to create more when it comes to that. So I started posting more on TikTok, where I will leave the link in the description, but I mostly post about superheroes and the things that I enjoy, So it was great. Moving on from the subject that is Superman. A song can be meaningful enough to make you want to create something. During this blockade that I experienced during the summer, I suddenly had the urge to paint something about the song Bullet with Butterfly Wings by the Smashing Pumpkins. And I did, which I'll show you. But then again, I succeeded after a failed attempt that almost made me quit because I couldn't actually get my idea on the paper. So basically, something that is meaningful to you, even if it's media, can make you feel inspired enough to get rid of a creative block. And even if it doesn't and you still don't do something, at least you are surrounding yourself with things that you love. Like me, making videos on TikTok instead of here. Sometimes the best way to get out of a creative block is to literally get out. Go on a walk, people watch, take in your surroundings. These are not necessarily to use what you see as inspiration. It could be, but the main goal is to try and clear your mind and truly be mindful of everything around you. My mom and I usually go on morning walks, and although it is tiring to wake up early and get ready, once we're outside, I get to take everything in. Other people walking, houses, dogs, the sound of birds, the early morning breeze. These all help to clear my thoughts and to simply appreciate the calmness of the world, which I do acknowledge it is a privilege that I get to experience it because a lot of people in this world don't. If you have the means to do it, a special trip is another great way to change perspectives for a while and to let your creativity flow. In the midst of me stressing out over not creating anything in these months, I went on a family trip to the beach, and it made me realize that I just needed to relax and focus on the moment, especially given that I already knew my creative block usually happens during the summer. So there was no point in stressing so much about it. And thankfully, this trip allowed me to feel creative enough that I did a painting. So that felt like a win to me. I find it funny that the last point is touch grass, literally, and this one is touch grass. Get out the internet right now. Doom scrolling is taking all the energy away from us, and I'll speak for myself. I do have time limits set on my phone for social media apps, but there are weeks where I simply ignore them, at least the TikTok one, and I end up having screen times of over 10 hours as a daily average. On the week I wrote this, I had a screen time of 21 hours and 21 minutes for TikTok only. And the worst part is that it doesn't even feel good. Sure, you can find videos that are funny or emotional or educational, which In the last case, it's actually important that we have access to this information, but when I leave the app, I feel exhausted, I feel drained. We were never supposed to receive this huge amount of information in one go. The internet used to be a place that you could only access through your family computer before you logged out and went outside. Now it's everywhere and we get burnt out over doing nothing. Isn't that worrying? We should allow ourselves to be bored. Plain and simple. And not try to get rid of that boredom with our phones. Let go of them and try to use the other 2 points that I mentioned to push yourself out of your creative block. Once you start to slowly work on fixing a phone addiction, you can see what is truly underneath you and how that could be turned into something better than a zombie on a screen. Just don't stop watching my videos.
It was the damn phone.
No, but really, following everything I said, we have get off your phone, watch, read, or listen to something you love and that inspires you. And number 3, go outside and take everything in. Some people would say that the best way to get out of a creative block is to keep working on it, even if you're not feeling inspired, because that inspiration can organically appear as you're creating. That personally doesn't work for me, as you could tell. But I think it's important to mention it anyways because it could be useful to someone else. We're all different and we have different ways of dealing with it, so it is important to try and find the way that works better for you. Like I said at the start, we can learn from our mistakes or failures when creating, so it's important not to give up. Creative blocks can be very discouraging, but just hang in there. Try everything you can to get your spark back. A setback isn't the end of the world, nor does it mean that you failed because of it. I think this video has proved itself, right? I'm here, I found the motivation, and I know that you can too. Hopefully, it doesn't take you as long as it took me, but even if it does, it's fine, it's okay. We're all here, we're talking, we're listening, aren't we? Aren't we having a great time? So this is the end of the video. Hopefully you liked it, hopefully it helped you, which is the whole point, right? So like, comment, subscribe, share, sell your soul to me, I don't care. And watch my last video, watch my first video. There's only 2 videos for the reasons that were stated in this one. So I'll see you on the next video, hopefully. Goodbye!